Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jersey and we are here with a Dinkum build video. Oh my gosh, it's been forever since I've done one of this, but it's so exciting to be here once again. And this one is, I had to tell you, this is one of my most favorite museum builds that I've ever created. This museum in particular is done and it's being built in Sunny Anne's Island, and my goodness, she has an amazing island. So if you've never seen that tour video, you definitely have to see it. But the most important to me, the most important part is that the part one of this build series was never done. The part two and part three are done as a live stream. So we continue to build this area and this museum in live stream. So I'm gonna link part two and part three definitely on this video in the description and all of that. For part one, the way this museum, the layout and everything was formed was never uploaded. So here we are today uploading this idea, this tropical museum, and that's one of my favorite things to call it, because I really wanted something different. When I got together with Sunny, one of the most important parts about this idea in this museum was it was in the tropical area, and I really wanted to make it feel different. This is one of the first time I was branching out from one of my styles of the way I was building museum and do something very different. Now, on the back of this museum, we got the hanging Babylon garden over there, and an amazing build that Sunny did, and we wanted to complement that build, that Asian ruin build, with this museum, right? Okay, so the idea of this museum, a lot of it that I really had planned was I wanted this waterfall tropical entryway and really force the characters that you really need to walk in this center and down the middle, and just force the characters to walk. Now, we wanted to have water, we want to have mountains on the side, we want to have all these cascading waterfalls coming down. All of that is going to be so important, right? It's going to be very important to me, and that's one of the things that we really got to achieve when we are concentrating on building this look. Okay, so as you can see, we kind of lift the platform. Now, like always, every time that you're working on a museum, every time you're working on a building, you never know exactly the height that you want, but you still kind of want to put something. I always love museum to be just a little bit elevated, even if it's one little square elevated. I always feel like it just gives it that extra elegance. You can put stairs in the front. It just gives you more than just being flat, but that's a personal taste. So over here, what we did, we started with 2. Eventually we may have to raise this. Like always, you never know how, in which direction. So if you're trying to copy this and you feel like you want this museum to even be higher. Now, one of the reasons I didn't go as high as other museum builds that I've done that you've seen in the past is because I really don't want to cover the gardens, right? And that was a key. So while Sunny is helping me out, we built this one. We're gonna put the museum and we're gonna check in the back if it looks good, if it doesn't look good, right? If it's covering too much, we want to lower it. If it's not covering enough, we can raise it, because the idea is from far away you want to be able to see a little bit of that build, that amazing build behind there. We want to be able to see it in the back, just propping a little bit higher from the museum. So that's another very important thing. Now, when you're building this, if you love this idea, if you love this layout, then you don't have to worry about that, right? Unless you truly have something behind it or another building. Okay, so one of the initial things over here in this particular build, I wanted to add this water fountain in here, but it was never gonna work. So what I decided on in my mind is I'm gonna change. I still wanted the water. So what I decided is, like, I wanted to have this walkway, right, leading towards the middle, but I want things force people to walk over bridges, right? And we want to have water. Now, one of the things that you're gonna see here is, depending what you're building, we are gonna use waterbeds for now, right? We're gonna use waterbed as a temporary measure, just as a placeholder. But after that, after the waterbed, you know, we're gonna bring real water. Now, the great thing about the location of this museum in this map, we got a river and we got ocean right next to. So it doesn't matter. We can bring real water at some point that we are definitely gonna do. But for now, because we don't want to mess up, you know, and we don't want to deal with all that water back and forth all the time, we're going to use water beds. And that's a really great technique. A lot of times you see me saying placeholders. And that's what I'm doing, just placeholder. And water beds could also be a great source of placeholder for water. So at least you can imagine it and you can see how the build is progressing. Okay, so what am I doing right now? So what I'm doing over here is, ideally I wanted a fountain. Remember, the fountain was never going to be centered. So what I decided is I just want to leave a little pool of water right over here just in front of the museum. So as you can see, we got two squares because that's how we're going to get the middle. It's going to lead straight to the door. So we got the two walking down, we're going to have a pool of water, and then we got this section coming down here that's going to be also two lanes. And then on the sides of this, we're going to have water, you know. And like always, when you're doing this, work section by section. That's something that you're gonna start seeing here. That's something that I'm trying to say more and more often lately. I used to create kind of like the whole layout, the whole thing, and then tweak it as I went. But now I've been approaching my builds very differently. I'm trying to work section by section, make sure that I'm getting the measurements right, grabbing the things that I really like, and then from there move on to the next stage, right? And then we can keep expanding and expanding. And as I'm doing this section by section, ideas keep popping into the head, you know, and new ideas, new way to tweak it. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can do this or I can do that. So as you can see over here, after we placed the museum, we saw it and it was a little too high. So we went and lowered it by one. And once we lowered it by one, it was perfect. It's what we wanted. We put the museum and we can see the gardens in the back. So that's going to work out perfect. So all we needed to do is kind of adjust this a little bit and just kind of bring it down, take out the museum, and just walk on this walkway. Now, one of the things that we decided to do, because we want that tropical feel, and a lot of the tropical feel, white is really great, you know, it just really stands out, especially in the tropics. So one idea that we had is, what about if we use marble for part of the walkway? And then Sunny came out with a really cool pattern that we'll wait till you see it on the video, but she really did an amazing job creating this amazing pattern that really complements the tropical feel. So I really love that so much, so much. Okay, so as you can see over here, now you may be wondering, what are we gonna do? You know, we walk in the middle, but we lead to a pool. You know, but I mentioned earlier, we want to work with bridges, right? That's part of the idea. So what I'm going to do, as you can see right here, of course, that's why one of the other reasons that's so important to bring real water is because I want water to go underneath the bridges, right? We can't use water beds underneath the bridges. So what I'm going to try to do is just present the idea and put the bridges where they need to go, because eventually we gotta bring the water. But as you can see, this is another thing that I noticed here. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. If I put the bridge, I can't do it on top of the cement. It's gonna mess up the walkway. But then I noticed that I actually need another spot outside. So, and this is why I mentioned we gotta work section by section. It's so important, because if I would just kept going with the layout that I already had planned, you know, I would have messed up already, and there would have been so much changes. So I'm so thankful that I'm working stage by stage, because then I can catch my little mistakes. And as you can see right here, that's what I'm doing. I'm catching mistakes that I didn't plan for, and especially the way that the bridges are taking one more square that I forgot that it was gonna take. So now we gotta expand the water a little more. But you know, it's a happy mistake. The water actually looks amazing, really cool and really amazing having more water. So it actually benefit the build, you know, and those are happy accidents. And I'm telling you what, don't ever be disappointed, don't ever be frustrated, you know. Sometimes things don't work out according to plan, and that's completely okay. And this is why you're seeing it right here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna clear out the idea, and basically we're just gonna expand it. We still want the water to go underneath the bridge. It's still gonna be one, but then on the side we're gonna have more water. And telling you what, it's gonna look gorgeous, it's gonna look great, it's gonna have a great feel, and I really love this. Okay, once again, we're using just water bed as a placeholder, just because I want to see how this is looking, and I want Sunny to be able to understand, you know, my vision, right? Because I'm in another island. This is not my island, you know. I want, when we go to members' islands, we want to make sure that they're happy with their builds, right? So that's what we're doing. So we are expanding, we're doing this, we're adding all of that, and now the walkway came out bigger. And now when you look at it, this was truly one of the great ways to add all this extra water. I just think it was gonna be so nice. So okay, so one of the other things that you see over here is we added this little area where the water's gonna run in the middle, right, on the bridge, and then we're gonna have this flower beds. Now, I really wanted to see what Sunny was gonna like. This is another idea, you know, that we can kind of frame in the water and hold it together right over here. So I think, you know, sometimes your ideas evolve, right? And you start thinking in this direction, in this other direction, and sometimes they can take a really nice shape, you know, because the other thing is this is a tropical museum idea, you know. I want this extra greenery everywhere. I want these colors to pop. That's another very important thing for me, is to have these colors to actually pop. So now what I'm doing here is marking the other area where I'm imagining the bridges are gonna go, and then we're gonna have another pool area. Again, just like we have in the front, we're gonna have one in the back as well, you know. And then we're gonna have these side bridges coming out that are leading you to here. Now, the other thing that you can vision yet, you know, because I'm working stage by stage, is we're gonna have two mountains truly blocking the way to walk around this area. So it's hard when you're building this, you know, and me to try to explain it, because right now it looks okay, but anybody can work towards the side, right? Like how you gonna force people to walk down the middle? But that's the cool thing about this particular build that I really like, is the idea that we are truly, you know, there's no shortcut. There's no way, unless you're flying in a helicopter, there's no shortcut. You really need to take this path. And sometimes that's really great, because sometimes we do all this work, we do all this build, and then nobody actually walks the way we want and the way we design it. So we got Sunny right over here. I wanted to see Sunny like the idea of having all the extra water, or if she wanted the flower, or what kind of flower she wanted. So as you can see, Sunny's in the background making decisions to see which direction we go. Do we want more water, you know, or do we want flowers, or what kind of flower bed? So we'll let Sunny decide back there what she decides to grab. So what I'm doing now is continuing to work in framing. So this is part of the walkway, right? We got walkways right over here that are gonna be leading right here into the different walkways. You know, we got one over here coming in and then coming out. Now, ideally, I wanted these walkways to go a long ways, but eventually what I did is to really make people walk down the middle, right? Because at first I was thinking we got two like this, and you can take either bridge or you can walk down the middle, but I really eventually wanted people to walk down the middle. So you're gonna see some changes eventually in this pathway. We're actually gonna cut it because there's gonna be like this mountain coming in. So that's gonna be a really cool, visually, it's gonna look really cool. And this is something that I'm doing right over here. So that's when the idea started evolving, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna start kind of there printing an idea, and shaping a mountain, you know, shaping a mountain is gonna be for you, you know, it's gonna be trial and error. So you may like it this way, you may like it higher, you may like it wider. So as you're seeing this idea, don't forget that you can go even higher, higher than what ever went. You can go lower, you can make it flat, you can make a complete square, you can make fake buildings on the side. You know, there's different ways you can approach this idea. But one side still has the walkway, because I wanted to see if Sunny liked that idea more, and then put the mountain more on the outside, or if she really liked the concept that I really wanted to do, that is kind of force people to and then they gotta take the middle, come back out, and then from the other bridge we're gonna go square out and lead into the museum. And it's kind of duplicating then what we got on the back, duplicated on the front, nothing in the middle, and the middle is all about the water. So as you can see, I'm kind of just shaping it up right here on the outline, right? So we're just working with the first outline. We're gonna imagine where we wanna put waterfalls. You know, that's gonna be another thing that's very important, because this is tropical. And I really was imagining like all this waterfall cascading down into the water, you know, just coming down and hitting all this. And that's why we got the bridges. And as you're walking down in the middle, you know, part of the illusion is to make it feel like, oh my gosh, like you're walking down. It's like, whoa, feel this. This feels incredible. So that's part of the feeling, you know. And when it comes to designing, you know, a lot of times you gotta put yourself in there, you know, you gotta put your imagination, you gotta put that feeling. So when you're doing mountains, you're doing valleys, you're doing lakes, you're doing even fake buildings. So when you're walking, you want those, you want to feel something, right, when you're walking. And to me, that's a big aspect of designing and decorating in Dinkum or in any other work, or any other game, right? it's that wonder, it's that like awe factor that you like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. I'm liking the way this feels. I like the way this looks. So okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. I don't want to make this humongous mountain and not knowing how high do I need to go. Maybe I went too high and the experience doesn't feel good. So as you can see, I'm just gonna do a little bit of testing and imagining where the water's gonna fall, leaving a little space in between. I'm a big fan of leaving space in between the water. I'm not one that likes to see that little extra glitch on the side of the waterbed, so I usually just like a traditional waterfall, just to it coming down. If I do one next to it or behind it, I kind of always like to leave a space. I'm also the type of person that also likes to hide the waterbeds. You don't have to. You can always leave them if that doesn't bother you. You can showcase the frame of the boxes and all of that. To me, to have that more realistic look, I always like to hide the waterbed. So it's always a little tricky to work with the right height, because you go on this height, but then you forget you need to bury it so you can hide it, right? So always remember, if you are planning to hide the waterbed, then always remember that you need to plan for that. But that's what I'm doing right now. So as you can see, I'm working on this little waterfall. This section here is going to be important. Now, one of the other things that it's important to mention, that whatever we do in this mountain, in this side, we're going to duplicate it on the other side, right? Because we are working with a little symmetry. So whatever is the same thing on this side, we're going to do it on the other side, just to keep it nice and neat. Now, if you don't care for symmetry and you want something a little more natural, then you can create two different mountains, right? And you can go with that look if you want. If that's a little more your style, then feel free, truly feel free to go in any direction, to make two different type of waterfall in one side on the other. That also can look incredible. I didn't try it on this one because visually I kind of wanted the same thing on one side, same thing on the other side. So, and that was my approach when it came to this one. So as you can see, I'm hiding over here the little waterfalls and all of that, and I'm imagining that it's cascading a little more to the side. So we got a little opening on one side, one on the other, and as you can see, I'm standing right here in the middle, and I'm really starting to like the feel, right? So I'm kind of testing it, and to me this is something important, and I always like to mention. And when you're building and when you're decorating, feel free to step back. Walk back to the build, look at it, feel it, go back and forth. Yeah, sometimes can be a hassle to go back and forth every time you do a little change, but trust me, it's something that is important, because it's gonna give you the feel, it's gonna give you the right look. Maybe you notice something, and it's always to kind of step back, feel it, and then keep working. So another thing that I really was imagining is having a little pool of water on the top, to like where all this water is coming down. So you don't have to do that pool of water. I kind of wanted to, though that's something that we're going to work on and try to improve. And then in the background, if you're seeing, Sonny had this idea to do a little pattern either with the marble and the cement, and then she actually changed it from marble to the wood, and I think the wood matched very well, especially with all the flower boxes, that Sony preferred the flower box look on the side for the water. So I thought that was a really great idea, and once she changed that and added the wood, it actually made it feel even more tropical, because now you got the white, you got the brown, we're gonna add the palm trees, we're gonna have all this beautiful green, and it's gonna start feeling really well. So as you can see, it's already taking shape. So the layout is looking good. We got the separation, we got the pools of water, all of that's gonna fill in. We already start seeing the vision of the mountain, right? And that is so important. The mountain is one of the keys of this build. More because, the centerpiece is fine, it's a walkway with water and all that. The key feature in this museum, the wow factor, is gonna be the mountains on the side. That's what's gonna give you that look. That's what's gonna give you that feel. You're like, oh, look at this, check this out. Okay, so now this is something else that, as I was envisioning this, at first I was not gonna have a waterfall in the back, but I was like, you know what, it'd be cool if we had another waterfall dropping down from this section that is filling this other pool of water. And then that's why, and that's like, okay, but if I'm gonna do that and I want the water to go this direction, that means I'm gonna have to another bridge. But I ended up liking it. I ended up liking the idea of having another bridge coming in this direction. And that's how the build evolved, and that's how we added more bridges than I ever expected. Originally it was just gonna be the two and the two, but then we added a couple more, we added two more, and it made such a nice build, just such a nice way to feel the water. And I don't know, it just made it feel a little more special. Okay, so as you can see now, I'm adding the mark where I'm envisioning the waterfall is gonna come down, and then now the next big thing is filling the mountain, right? And when it comes to dirt printing, and making mountain, it's gonna take a while. So as you can see, we're gonna dirt print. And when you're building a mountain, I will suggest, there's not a right way and a wrong way. Just go with what visually looks good to you. That's truly my advice. You can go as simple and square. You can make a different height. You can use ramps if you want a little more high or elevation. You can go more traditional like me and then just keep it very boxy and square. In any direction, it's gonna look really good, right? And especially it's gonna be what your eyes. If it looks pleasing to you and you're enjoying it and you like the way it looks, then it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect, and that's the most important. Remember that the builds are for you. It's your island, it's your area. This build that you're seeing right now and showcasing it is for your inspiration. Here's the layout. Copy it completely 100% if you want to, or as you see the layout, start adding the things that will make it your own, that you truly will start enjoying. Okay, so as you can see, we added the little pool water on the top, and I still wanted to do a little something more in the back. So we're gonna hide all these water beds, and then we got the pool of water on the front, a little stream coming here that's gonna come down to the side, that's also gonna showcase and is supposed to fill this other section. That section in front of me, all that water is supposed to be pouring into there. And I'm telling you what, slowly, I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. I really like the way we're heading, and I was really happy. And to this day, I'm telling you, to this day, this is still one of my favorite museum builds, because it's so different than anything that I've done. Now, after this, I've done even more different type of museum builds that I really enjoy, and there's a lot of live stream showcasing that, we did a grand museum with Sarah Deputy. We did another museum with Riley KS Gaming, in different islands. And they're all getting more unique and more different. And I truly enjoy doing this, going like really elaborate, when it comes to museums, because I think to me the museums are very special builds. I really enjoy building museums. It's one of my favorite things to do in Dinkum, is building museum and coming out with a different layout, a different entrance, a different way to approach to give it elegance or the feel. So okay, so as you can see, everything over here is starting to feel. I love the feel of the mountain, but now one of the things that we need to do eventually to really grasp the mountain feel is that we need to change all the sand into brown dirt. So that's gonna be a process, right? We don't have a tool, James. We don't have a tool just yet. Franklin needs to develop something. Franklin is creative. He can do a copy dirt printer, that copies dirt to another type of dirt. And that'd be great. But as you can see, one of my other things that I started to kind of do is kind of imagining where am I going to put the coconuts, the palm trees, the palm trees, and the different things. And I kind of want to work kind of in a circular kind of way, not making it all straight. As you can see, we kind of do like a little angular motion here, angular motion over there, and then we're gonna let them grow. I want to see how they look. I want us to see how they start feeling, because I really want part of the palm trees, I want them to kind of cover part of the mountain, because I think that is gonna help a lot. It's gonna help like visually, like give it a little separation, right? And I think palm trees are gonna really help that. And as you can see, I'm doing some in the bottom floor, then we're gonna do some in the second tier so we can have a little more elevation. And if you look at tropical mountains, online and Google and all of that, you're gonna see how palm trees grow. They grow in different sizes, in different way. Sometimes they're hanging off a cliff, because that's where everything grew, so you never know. So be creative. It's nature, nature sometimes can be a little wild, a little bit chaotic. Sometimes it's very beautiful, very organized, but at the same time, it can be very messy and just be in every single way, in every single direction. And I think that what makes nature a key, and you can never go wrong, right? And like I said again, it's gonna be up to you. If you like the way something looks, if you like the way something feel, then keep it, because it's your island, it's your build, it's what's gonna make you happy, right? And to me, that's always the key. That's always gonna be one of the most important things when it comes to designing, is the person that's doing it. You are the one that has to be happy. It's not me, it's not your friend, it's not another content creator, but it's you. And that's the best advice that I could ever give you, and because it's true. Because it's true. You're the one that has to be happy. Okay, so as you can see, we're changing the mountain into the brown dirt. And telling you what, once we see the shade, now you start seeing the mountain. You see that little separation. You see the difference. And I'm like, you know what? I'm liking this. I'm liking this even more now, because now it really feels like a mountain, you know? It feels like a mountain, and it feels like it's just a little more solid instead of just being this sand. Now, I sometimes do wish that the rock path will go all the way down. So you imagine we use the rock path, and then also we'll put rocks like on the side of the columns. Like that could give like a rocky mountain look. I think that could be really cool. That way you don't have to use like brick or something like that when it comes to nature. And then we can work like in slopes with the ramps, and the ramps already duplicate part of the rock if they put it on top of the design. So it could be a really clever way to really build like rocky mountains. But at the moment, you know, the rock paths don't do that, you know, but that's in my imagination. It could work or not work. But okay, so as you can see here, Sunny brought the real water. Sunny brought real water. So happy to see this, you know, and Sunny was an amazing helper. I could not do everything that I did if Sunny wasn't working in the background helping me out. But look at this, we brought the real water, and now we got the depths. Now we see the waterfall like running on the side over here, and look at this. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? I love this. So now we're changing part of the dirt over here as well, and I'm bringing all this dirt over here just to start changing the look, and take a little bit of this sand, you know, because once we plant like the bushes and the trees, and I really wanted to have like this tropical grass, because again, this is in the tropics. So instead of using the fir grass that is very popular and most people really like that, I really want to use the tropical, because part of this build is the tropical museum, right? It's very different, you know, using different things that I'd never done before until this point. And I really started liking a lot the way the tropic was looking, with the palm trees, with everything. So over here, we're growing everything for a quick moment, because I really needed to start seeing how the palm trees were looking, if I needed to change it, if I needed to do something different, do I needed to add more, you know. And look at this. Look at this. The palm trees already help so much to fill up the gaps, to fill up the mountain, to give it that little extra height, you know, and at the same time, that extra greenery against the brown. It's coming nice. It's coming really nice. And I'm really enjoying all of this. Okay, so as you can see, me and Sunny are talking over here, trying to decide a couple little things, you know. We talk about different bushes. We talk about different ways to bring colors, you know. Do we want more water, less water? Should we plant a little more? There's a lot of conversation that goes when it comes, especially when you're on another person's island, you know, to make sure that they're liking the build, that they're liking the taste of everything. So after we finished talking and kind of planning, then it was time to go one more time. And one of the other first things to do was to add a little bit of the tropical grass in the top of the area. I really like how that looks, because it just takes away that little extra dirt, and you see the little separation from one floor to the other. So by adding that little tropical grass, it gives it a look. It gives it a look, right? And I like the tropical grass. I think the tropical grass is really great. Okay, so as you can see over here, I'm gonna be trying a couple things over here. I wanted to see if I frame this little area over here, would it still look good? Would I like it more with the flower boxes? Would I like it less with the flower boxes? And of course, at the end, you're gonna see Sunny making choices as well. Maybe Sunny likes it, maybe doesn't like it. So we're gonna see what she likes. If it stays, you know, Sunny liked it. If it goes away, then it's not, she preferred the other way, you know. But framing all this with the hardwood bridges, having the marble and the hardwood together, and man, Sunny, I will say it again, that was such a great choice to create the path that way. It stands out. It's just such a good combination. And you can see there's Sunny again working on the pathing right over there, and it's so good. It's so good to work with Sunny. It's always amazing. It's always a privilege to work with Sunny. It's truly amazing. I just have so much fun, and not just with Sunny, but with any member that we go to. It's always fun to work with them. Okay, so you can see, this is something that came a little bit last minute. because originally the mountain was supposed to end right here, but there was something missing. So I started to try to work with a little pond or a little idea that wasn't feeling just right. So I think what happened and what felt inside of me was like, I think the mountain needs to kind of slowly come down, kind of wrap around and slowly come down, kind of in a slope. We start in one direction, gets to the height and start coming down and kind of wrap around this area and really make it feel more secluded and more finished. And once I started feeling that, and as you can see, that's something I'm trying. So now I'm moving like the waterfall, making the space that I need, kind of curving this in. I really wanted this waterfall on the side to kind of actually fall like in the middle. And like I said, it's waterfall. You don't really need to do that. It's just, I don't know, it was bothering me that was more in the corner. So I kind of put it more into the center of this little pond. And then we're going to build on the side over here. We want to start building a little mountain, you know, a little mountain that's gonna come our way. But at first, like I said, I kind of wanted to add a little pond, but you know, I don't know, it wasn't just working. So as you can see right now, I start working on kind of the side of the mountain, like how this mountain is gonna come down. I kind of wanted to feel like it's wrapping around, right? So as you can see, I'm trying to curve it in. That's why I'm going a little diagonal, and then we go straight to make the illusion like it kind of is wrapping around, you know. And then we're gonna have like maybe a little more waterfalls coming down over here from the side as well, you know. And that's all trial and error. So you can see I'm trying to come down, I'm trying to curve it in, come down over here. And when you do this, again, working on mountains, it's all gonna be trial and error. There's not a right way. Just keep working at it until you feel like you got something. Once you know, I promise you that you will know when you like something, because you're like, oh, I like this, and it will make you stop. It'll make you stop, it'll make you wonder, and you're like, man, this really is coming out and feeling really good. But as you can see from the other side, every time we step back and look, it's looking really good, right? So now I decided I want to extend this even more. I want to extend this pool of water on the side and then keep edging out with the hardwood frame, the hardwood boxes, because I don't know, we started using the hardwood boxes. It's something that Sonny really starting to like, and you know what? I think that's going to be part of the build now. Everything is kind of like separating the water with the hardwood boxes, and I think that's special. Now, you don't have to have that, and you can go with my original idea to have more water, right? You can actually take out all the hardwood boxes, leave just the sidewalk, and have the water go all the way to the walk path if you want more water, if you prefer more of the water look. Now, like I mentioned, when I'm in Members Island, I want them to be happy, so we added more of the flowers, you know, but it still looks amazing and it still looks really good. And I love adding and just framing now everything with the hardwood boxes in this particular build, separating the water with the sidewalk and the walkways, and it's top notch. And then I really like how this little waterfall came out over here. I think it came out really good. I think it just works. And then we're gonna add a little more palm trees, as you can see on the top. We added more in the corners and really start shaping up this area. Because once we shape out that little left side, the right side is gonna be just a work of duplication, and that's something that you're gonna see on the other videos. That the build videos are more in the live stream format, because we decided to build it with the community and have fun on live stream. So you will see part 2 and part 3 of that as a live stream format, and the links is gonna be down in the description so you guys can enjoy it. Okay, so as you can see, we are still working, we're still framing this. I kind of want to bring now again more of the hardwood boxes. We're gonna try to edge that out. I'm gonna leave the space that I need, that's gonna be for, so we can start when we start duplicating the other mountains. So now it's just kind of like separating, right? We're separating over here, separating over there, kind of start laying the foundation of what's gonna come on the other side. And when you're working with symmetry and you're duplicating, you know, my best recommendation is once you're 100% comfortable that you finish one side, then the duplication process will be easier, because you're just mimicking what you have on one side onto the other. But you can see from when we started to where we're at right now, and the feel of that side. So imagine now that feel on the other side of the mountain. It really starts feel like it's all secluded, like it's all, it's hard to explain. I know I've seen it, I walked it, I've been here, you know. I truly enjoyed this build, and just the feel that it gives you when you characters walking in between these two mountains with the waterfall. It's one of my favorite things. I just really cannot emphasize how much I love this idea, and I need to do it again. I need to do this again in another island, a little bit different, but I need to do this build again because this is definitely one of my top favorite builds, and I really love the way this feels. Okay, so you can see I'm gonna add a couple more things over here so you can see them. I see I'm adding a couple more palm trees, and this time I'm adding different ones. The first one we added the ones with the coconut. Now we're adding the palm trees that you get from the palm seeds, and just to have a different look. I think I needed that, just that way it blends a little bit different, and we got a kind of like a different greenery and different type of shape. So one of the palm trees curve, right, and the other palm trees are more straight. So I think that's important. I think I had too many of one, so by alternating this a little bit, it's gonna be a lot more helpful. It's gonna look a lot better in my opinion. And as you can see, that's what I kind of decided to do, just kind of alternate them. And again, all of this is trial and error. You may be watching this right now and you prefer the other one, complete the other one a lot more, and then other people may prefer the one that are planting to be all of it like that. So it's trial and error. Try it out, see what you like the most, and go for it. But I'm liking this, right? You got two different fields, you got more pantries. Also, it gives you a little bit more greenery, a little more of that vegetation, that's gonna be like really nice. Okay, so slowly, the next thing is to kind of start shaping how big the size of this is gonna be. So one of the other thing is that I was really planning on is this is good. The museum is gonna have like two wings, right? Two wings, but it's gonna be outdoor, right? It's just gonna be outdoor seating. But I want to do kind of like a little area that leads you, like this side that I'm working on is the one that's gonna lead you going into the amazing build that Sunny did of the hanging gardens back there, right? So this leads you to back there, kind of like a gift shop area or something like that. And that idea evolved throughout the other two live stream videos that it came out amazing. Like, trust me, it came out so good. It's just amazing. You need to see those. You need to see those. But then the other side, we were gonna have like a beautiful sitting area that when you see here, you're enjoying the view. You're enjoying the view on the back and the back of the museum as well. It's gonna get a lot of work. We gotta do a lot of work, a lot of stuff. We added again another pond area. We added so much more in the last final videos because that's how it works, right? Like, it keeps evolving. I'm just telling you ahead what's coming out in the others, but once you see those other videos, you're gonna like what you see. Now, there's different options, right? After you're watching this right here, right now, if you don't like the idea of having two mountains and you want just have a backdrop mountain, then you can kind of keep it like this. You can keep just one mountain like that, bring the museum a little closer, or maybe put the museum in front, and you can have just a different type of view just by kind of imitating what we did on just one side. But as you can see, now we're extending. We're gonna use a lot of marble over here and kind of working on the stair system, bringing this over here. Where do I see the marble? We definitely want all this marble because it looks great in the tropics. This little white, it's just white and tropical go together very well, very well. Trust me, it pops, and it looks really good. So as you can see, we're making this humongous platform that is also gonna have like stairs coming in. And and when you're working with stairs like this, build the area, build the platform, and then just start testing. Maybe you like the steps coming in early inside the build like I did. Maybe you want to put them on the outside, and maybe you want to do something different. Maybe you want to do a different stair system. And in the stairs, it's always gonna be, trust me, trial and error. You may like this look, you may like the other look. Some people may not like it the way I did it here. They may want to be sticking out more. Just play with it, have a feel, feel it, see what you like the most, right? Okay, so now as you can see, I'm still tweaking a little bit more, seeing what all the areas. Now we're working on the last expansion over here. I decided, okay, let's add a couple palm trees over here. That way we have a little bit of vegetation back here. So we're adding that. We planted that over there. We added kind of flower boxes over here on the front of the museum just to match the look that it's going for, and I think we got a good size, I think we got a good length. Everything is looking good. We got the enough space. We got what we think we're gonna use for the wings on the side. So now we gotta start slowly deciding how we want the museum to feel the entrance, right? And that's always very important. Some people like it very basic, some people like it very grand, some people put a lot of stuff, some people put statues. You know, there's different ways you can approach the museum depending on your vision. And as you can see over here, I'm trying different things. You know, I'm imagining like a walkway over here, but then we got walkway on the side. Maybe we got a little stair system, people walk, and then because since we got these two platforms on the side, I want to kind of make it feel a little bit realistic, and that you coming, like you can step out of the museum and quickly walk to the side instead of coming down all the way down and come back up. So in that function, we can do it with just the one single square step, you know, because it looks good. It looks good. It actually worked out. And as you can see now on the front, what I did is to, instead of adding a fence, what I extended it and it just make that little lip. So it makes it feel like we got a natural marble fence for now, right? Now, if you don't like this look, you can always use a fence. You can use something else. You can keep it flat. But instead of keeping it flat, that to me is a little boring. Adding this little extra on the front, that way the floor is a little lower. To me, it goes the distance. It just makes it feel so much better, you know. And I really enjoy just that little bit. And like always, it's always trial, right? Always trial and error. Okay, so as you can see, over here we're also trying different things, like how do I want and how we want to decorate this beginning over here, and also knowing that we gotta duplicate what we did on that side. We gotta duplicate over here. So as you can see, I'm doing a little measurement, maybe changing a couple things, imagining when I'm putting things, and you can see I'm pushing back some of the palm trees over here because maybe I'm gonna do an arrangement over here. I'm envisioning some other stuff, as you can see. So we're pushing, and I really want all this to be framed with the hardwood boxes, because I feel like it will look really cool having all these flowers, all of that. And also, I don't want people to go on the side. Like I mentioned, this is just a one way. You know, you get in, you walk all of this into the museum, you can go to the back and get to the Babylon Garden, but I want you to come back out. And all of that, there's going to be a humongous mountain, the one that we're going to duplicate, and then one that's going to wrap around from the back, because we don't want to see the ocean. This is very secluded. We don't even want people to be able to see this build when they're driving on the outside of the road. And we're going to explain that, and we get to talk about that in the live streams that we did, continue to build this build with the community. Because I thought that was a great idea. Like, it's a very hidden, very hidden area. We're going to have an opening. There's going to be a parking lot that we eventually did do. There's a lot of stuff in the other two live streams, right? But right here, right now, is mainly the main layout, that I think this layout is so important for someone that wanted to really do this build, because we didn't go over the layout in the live streams that we did. So I feel like this video was very important for a lot of you that needed this. But as you can see, it's coming out. Look at the lighting, on one side, we're starting to put lights just to make sure we got the right illumination, and I think all of this is coming really nice. And as you can see, I'm slowly already starting to duplicate what we did on one side or the other. So, and this point, you can almost fast forward part of this video if you wanted to, but I know a lot of people like to see everything and all the details and all the struggles, and how one idea became to the other one, or how you fix mistakes, or when you get stuck and how you take it to the next level. So that's something that we're doing, right? That's something that we're doing. So as you can see, we're counting, we're checking. I'm trying to imagine how the water is going to cross over here, or how we're going to get to one side to the other, or where like how from cascading down, and how the water is gonna come in here. And that's something that I'm trying to figure out right here. Something wasn't working for me, and as you can tell, I'm like trying to really figure it out. Like, okay, so what did I do wrong? Why it wasn't working? Why am I struggling? Or maybe I was trying to figure out, maybe I was trying to do something new. It's been a while, so not exactly, I can't remember exactly what I'm trying to do here. But it's something to do with water. And as you can see, I'm still working on it. And I'm trying to figure out what it is. Oh, okay, I see. It's the way the water has to come down to the bridge over here. Okay, so we're framing everything, where the water has to come in and hit the canal that's going to the bridge. Okay, I see it now. Yeah, okay. It took me a moment to understand what I was trying to do. It took me a moment. It took me a moment. Okay, so basically, instead of working from the mountain and then working the waterfall down, I was trying to work from the waterfall going up on the opposite direction. So that's what happened. Okay, so I'm working in reverse. I'm working in reverse, but as you can see, we're walking. We got the space over here, so I'm imagining here. We got the walkway over here that where things are gonna go. So, and that's what that's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. It's just kind of duplicating, but in a different way. That's why it took me a moment to figure out what I was doing. But as you can see, now we're gonna start secluding this area. We're gonna start building, you know, the next mountain, then on one over here on the side, you know, and all this stuff is gonna be important. But this is the fun part. I do say fun part because duplicating is kind of fun, and it could be a little frustrating at the same time, you know, because sometimes you gotta think of the opposite. You see in one way, but you gotta duplicate it going the opposite direction, right? So sometimes it takes a moment, you know, you're counting back and forth, you know, and I love to sometimes leave these sections in like this because you can see even people like me struggle, even though we do this all the time, you know, we're building, we're coming up with new ideas. Sometimes we still struggle trying to think in which direction to go. But as you can see, I'm just duplicating palm tree and palm tree, duplicating a waterfall, waterfall, you know, and just kind of build the mountain slowly for what we see on one side or the other. Now over here, we're trying to figure out how do we want this end to be over here. Do we want it to do with a fence? Do we want it to do it with the hedges? Do we want the fence to continue to go all the way out so it doesn't feel like it's unfinished? You know, and all of these are little details, you know, that you may like, you may not like, you may want to take in a whole different direction, you know, because sometimes seeing that little space in between, it may feel unfinished, but when then you add the other two on the side, it feels finished when you look from the inside, but maybe you don't like it the way it looks from the outside. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, you know, always do it depending on your style and what you like the most. Maybe you want to keep it completely open, and maybe you don't care to put a fence in, and that's not your style to put a fence in. You know, over here we're trying the cement and a little lower, and I think this one even looks a little bit better. You know, it's not too high, it doesn't block too much. I think Sunny looks great standing behind it, you know. And again, another opportunity to use another fence that is not normally one that I use, and I'm really starting to like it. And you see how it's forcing us to take the path, right? That's the whole idea of this build, is to take that middle path. That's what's important, you know, to go over there. So over here, as you can see, I'm just walking, imagining how much of the mountain this is gonna take, you know, how much Sunny and I still have to do, work on that side, all of that. But I love it. This is still to this day, and I know I said it a couple times, but it's one of my favorite things. So we're talking over here, talking like how we wanted to design all of this. So like we can do a seating area looking towards there, you know, and a lot of times this is something that you need to do. Sometimes you need to talk ideas out loud, you know, imagine it if you're working with someone, you know, bounce ideas back and forth, see what works best or not, you know, with that person or your ideas, and see what kind of ideas that they have and then bring to you. But as you can see, you know, we're talking a lot. We're talking a lot over here and try to decide what we want to do. Okay, so then after we finished planning and talking, you know, we wanted to experiment. It's always good to experiment and imagine what you want to do. So one of the things that I wanted to do a play on is also use kind of columns to represent the build in the back as well, because there's a lot of columns back there, and imagining kind of like a seating area. So that's something that we're doing over here, just kind of couple testing things out. All of this, it will really get to be a more of a showcase when it comes on the other parts of the video, you know, part 2 and part 3 of this amazing tropical museum build. You know, we work on this, we work on the back, we work on the mountain, the one that is closing everything, the mountain that doesn't see you anything from the road. There's a lot of stuff that are gonna come your way, but the most important, you know, and I do believe in this particular part 1, this part 1 video, is the layout, you know, the layout and having that first half of the mountain done. Because if you're watching this video and this is something that you like, it is an idea that you want to do, now you can follow along, you can have it, you can pause it, you can take screenshots, and you can kind of duplicate it. And you can also duplicate it to the other side, because all we're working in now is duplicating that one mountain, duplicate it on the other side. If you're building this anywhere anywhere in your islands, you know, let me know. Let me know how you like the idea, how it's coming out, how much different, what you tweak, what you added. You know, maybe instead of making on the tropical, you imitate the layout, but you made it in the forest. You know, instead of using palm trees, you use pine trees everywhere. Who knows what you ended up doing, you know, and how you ended up changing the area and the atmosphere. But I'm gonna be very curious to know, you know, how you approach it, how you liked it, if this idea inspired you in some way to really go out of your way and make something even more grand, even more special in your island, you know, because it's always great to have ideas. It's always great to grab inspiration. It doesn't matter where we grab them, right? And that's why all these videos, anything that we do, anything that you do is always so important towards the community, because it's an inspiration, you know. You inspire me, I inspire you, we inspire each other, you know, and it's amazing. And also working with others and collabing, also it makes you expand on your own design, on your own techniques, you know, and learn from something from other people that I think is also so important, you know. All of it mash up so we can be all one in this crazy world, in designing, you know, because we all always are learning, you know, and there's always a way to do something a little bit different than it was done before. And I think it showcases every time we do something, you know, because sometimes we feel like we've done everything, but we can still change it, we can still do a little bit different in something. But guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and I'll see you next time. All right, guys, see you later. Bye.